They're very advanced in AI and high tech. They're leading the world in it. She is going to tell Trump, you're not the exceptionals anymore. We're in charge. You're not going to tell us what to do. That, to me, is what's going to happen. By the facts, by the data and the facts, China is going to be number one. And you're also going to be looking at the death of the dollar. Again, the business of America's war. We became the country our founding fathers fought against, where the sun never sets on the British Empire. All their wars, what happened after World War I? End of the pound, up with the dollar. Now, with this going on, and you're seeing with the treasuries and the debt level of the United States, it's not 40 trillion, by the way. According to Fortune magazine and others, when you put in Social Security and all the other government debt, it's more like $126 trillion. There's no way they could pay this off.
What if America's biggest threat isn't a single enemy, but the collapse of several advantages at the same time? Gerald Celente believes America is entering a dangerous period of economic instability, an AI bubble, rising Chinese power, massive debt, and escalating conflict. But his most controversial warning goes even further. He believes the next major market collapse could be worse than the dot-com crash, and that a geopolitical crisis could make everything even more dangerous. So is America facing another financial crash, or the beginning of a historic shift in global power?
This is all crap. The markets are ready to crash. They're way overvalued. This is going to be a crash worse than the 1929 market crash. They're way overinvested. Trends are born, they grow, they mature, reach old age, and die. AI became to the world officially only 4 years ago in 2022. You don't invest all your money in the infant. And that's what they've done. China's going to lead the world in AI. They're already leading it. It's hardly reported. Go back to 2025, go back to January. DeepSeek comes. What's a DeepSeek? Oh, what happened to NVIDIA's stock that day? Oh, it only went down, what? They lost $600 billion, went down 17%. Oh, forget it. It's out of the news. Who's using more AI? What country? Oh, China's AI is being used by everyone more around the world. It's cheaper, as efficient or more efficient than the US AIs. There's going to be a dot-com bust. It's going to bring down the global economy.
Celente's first warning is financial. He believes markets have become dangerously overvalued and that investors are pouring enormous amounts of money into AI before the technology has fully matured. His prediction is extreme. He sees the possibility of another major technology bubble and believes its consequences could spread far beyond Wall Street. But if AI is becoming the center of the financial system, there's another country he believes could benefit enormously from that transformation.
The power dynamic is that, as we've been writing in the Trends Journal, the 20th century was the American century, but the 21st century is going to be the Chinese century. The business of America is war. The business of China is business. You got it? Now, again, in tracking trends, it's the understanding of where we are, how we got here, and where we're going. This is a T-shirt that I did when Bill Clinton ran for office in 1992. Could you see that? I didn't have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. She only sucked my dick. That guy brings China into the World Trade Organization 25 years ago. The Western nations gave China, because they wanted cheap labor, all the high tech and heavy industry technology they never had. Who's leading the world in EVs? Who's leading the world in batteries and alternative energy? Keep going down the list. China. Go back 25 years ago, up to about 2015. You're over there in Germany. Remember how great BMW was doing, and Volkswagen, and all those Porsches and everything, all the cars and all the money that the Western nations were making when they went into China, and China's economy started going up, and they were making a fortune selling all their vehicles and clothing and on and on. No more. No more. China doesn't need you. China's going to be leading the world. And that's what she's going to be telling Trump. And again, there's no way in the world the Americans can't beat the Iranians. Yeah, you don't have to be good at math to figure this out. There are 1.4 billion Chinese versus 343 million Americans. And let's go back again. Trends are born, they grow, they mature, reach old age, and die. Go back 25 years ago. Some 10% of Chinese 18-year-olds went to college. Look it up now. Nearly 70%. And unlike America, where they're taking courses in transgender studies and other things like that, no. They're very advanced in AI and high tech. They're leading the world in it. She is going to tell Trump, you're not the exceptionals anymore. We're in charge. You're not going to tell us what to do. That, to me, is what's going to happen. By the facts, by the data and the facts, China's going to be number one.
This is where the story changes from a market prediction to a power struggle. Celente believes China isn't simply becoming another economic competitor. He believes the global hierarchy itself is changing. AI, manufacturing, batteries, electric vehicles, and education are all part of his argument that China's economic rise could eventually translate into geopolitical dominance. And if America's relative power is weakening, the next question becomes much more dangerous. What happens when economic pressure collides with war?
I am concerned that there's going to be a false flag event that's going to unite the world to go to war against Iran. And I'm concerned about a nuclear war because Israel has what they call the Samson option, S-A-M-S-O-N. If they lose, they go nuclear. They're saying it. And they have between 90 to 400 nuclear warheads. So that's what we see happening with the midterms. He's going to do everything he can. And another one is look for lower interest rates. They're going to do everything they can to prop up the economy, just like they did buying these bond yields so that mortgage rates go down. Because home sales are going way down in America, and they're going to do everything they can to prop it up.
You just mentioned something interesting. Unite the people to go to war. That's exactly the way, like how you get through a crisis, especially a crisis. Let's call it a crisis of faith in the government, right? Interestingly enough, I had Colonel Douglas McGregor on yesterday. I was speaking with him, and he mentioned the Americans actually don't care what's happening in the Middle East, and I think that's an interesting point because the stock market stopped caring about the Middle East a long time ago, right? So I'm curious, like, what do you make of that? Because unite the people to go to war. Like, there needs to be something happening. Like, we need a unifying event to get the people behind the objective, whatever that objective is, and whoever's manipulating that objective. Right. What does that mean, though? Like, are you worried that something might happen again? And I don't want to say another 9/11 happens, but because that was just frighteningly scary and unnecessary, like, ridiculous. But where is this headed? Like, it feels like we're in that vacuum again, where we need one of those events to unite the people.
Yeah, that's, again, you go back to the facts. The Great Depression was going on. One of my sayings is when all else fails, they take you to war. 80% of Americans were opposed to going to war when Europe was already on fire in 1941. 80% of the people were against it. They bombed Pearl Harbor. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, Yankee Doodle do or die. It changes like that. Again, with 9/11, it changed like that. And by the way, we were talking before we went on the air. I hate traveling anymore. Back before 9/11, it was fun to travel. You didn't have to go through all this crap going through, these long lines and getting felt up if you don't want to go through the X-ray machines and all that kind of crap. It was fun to travel. No more. 9/11 changed everything. Oh, now we got Homeland Security, ICE, all this crap. And again, so they're going to do a false flag event that'll unite the people. That's my greatest concern.
This is the most controversial warning in the interview. Celente is expressing his fear of a future escalation. He does not establish that such an event is actually being planned. His larger argument is that economic and political crises can create pressure for military escalation, and that a major shock can rapidly transform public opinion. But he doesn't believe the Iran conflict would necessarily end with a quick victory. His next argument is about whether America can actually win.
And there's no way you're going to, again, we wrote here again, there's no way you're going to defeat Iran. You couldn't beat the Vietnamese. All right? We wrote back then, third world country. These are the Persians. They're very advanced scientifically, technologically, and militarily. Oh, and then you couldn't beat the Afghans, third world country. Then America couldn't beat Iraq. What makes you think you're going to... Iran is winning the war. The numbers that they're not putting out, that's coming out, it's cost Americans almost $150 billion because of the damage that Iran has caused by bombing U.S. military bases and outlets across the Middle East. And now they're saying about 750 Americans have been severely wounded. Hardly being reported. And most of the world has, again, Germany, AfD was supporting Trump. They're not supporting him anymore. The world is disgusted with America's geopolitical and economic hegemony. So there's going to be the death of the dollar. And we're very bullish on gold and silver, by the way. And it's just going to keep going up. It's ups and downs, but you know, it's going to keep going up. And by the way, the Chinese people even now are buying more and more gold and buying less and less products.
Now the consequences become much bigger. Celente connects America's military commitments with its economic position. His argument is that war, debt, changing alliances, and China's rise are all part of the same larger transition. His most dramatic financial prediction is the decline of the dollar. But there's one final piece. He doesn't just predict a long-term shift. He gives a much more immediate warning about the markets.
Yes, look at the private equity crisis going on that is barely reported. And again, these private equity groups that for the very rich, they want their money back because AI is taking out a lot of the software companies and semiconductor companies that they invested in. And BlackRock and a bunch of the others, they're saying, no, you only could get this percentage back, 15%. The private equity thing is way overvalued, and they want their money back. And they've invested very terribly in a lot of things. And they're way overinvested in the AI markets. There's going to be this is going to be worse than the dot-com bust. Way worse. It's going to be dot-com bust 2.0. That's one of our top trends this year. And it may happen, we believe it's going to happen this year, probably around October.
And this is the prediction that gives the entire interview a deadline. Celente believes the AI boom could produce a collapse worse than the dot-com bust. And he specifically points toward October. That makes this a prediction viewers can eventually judge against reality. But whether that forecast comes true or not, his broader warning is clear. He believes America's economic, technological, and geopolitical pressures are beginning to converge.
It could change tomorrow if the billionaires put $1 billion apiece, which would be chump change for them. If they launched $1 billion peace movement, we'd have it tomorrow. And my greatest regret when I die is I didn't get more support. I launched Occupy Peace over a decade ago. Warren Buffett's son, Peter Buffett, Nobel Foundation, used to rent one of my buildings, the 1763 Dr. Jensen House for the Nobel Foundation. Had Ralph Nader up here, Judge Napolitano, Scott Ritter, Joe Lauria, Roger Waters doing live podcasts for my Occupy Peace rally. Never gave me a penny for peace. If the billionaires put $1 billion for peace and had a global peace movement, we'd have it tomorrow.
Gerald Celente's predictions are provocative, and they remain predictions, not established facts. But the larger warning goes beyond one market crash. His argument is that economic instability, technological disruption, geopolitical rivalry, and military conflict can begin reinforcing each other. And when those forces collide, ordinary people ultimately pay the price. The question isn't whether every prediction in this interview will come true. The question is whether America is prepared for a world where its economic and geopolitical dominance can no longer be taken for granted.